And action.
Here's the gavel, man.
All right. It is April 8th, Tuesday at approximately 6:34, 6:35. We can call this meeting to order. If we can all rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sitting awful high.
Maybe raise that up.
What?
Yeah, now you're
No, it wasn't.
now you're lower.
There you go.
I have short legs.
Trying to help
All
you.
right. Now that we have the meeting called to order. First off, I would like to say welcome to Lauren,
Thank you.
her mother-in-law, but
Grandma
Lauren.
Grandma.
Happy to have you here.
Thank you.
I'm
Happy
excited
be
to have
here.
you here. You do a lot of things in the community, and I feel this is just another great addition to what we have here. I mean, we have some really good people here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be a part of it.
Awesome. So welcome.
Thank you.
Does anybody have anything that they'd like to add to the agenda this evening?
I would like to propose we axe out number 10 discussion on rink board purchase option. Kyle and I went to take a look at the rink boards in Chanhassen. Half of the boards are rotted out and
Okay.
warped, and
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know.
Needs some
Yeah.
research.
well, we went and looked at them, and the way they cut them up, they did it as best they could, but you'd still need plates to reassemble the whole thing, and it'd be such a
Okay.
nightmare to put it back together.
All right. Yeah, we can strike that off there.
But it was good to take a look, and it was good to take it as
Right.
an option.
Right.
I
So
was hoping to come back with better news on cheap rink boards that we could put in.
that would have been nice, but
Yeah.
what do we do? Any other additions? Without any, I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda.
Make that motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. On to last month's agenda approval or the minutes. I went through them. I didn't see anything that, except for, you didn't record my food one.
Yeah.
I try to keep them clean.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Edited video.
Yeah. And if we have no changes or nobody needs anything changed, I'll look for a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. On to discussion items. Disc golf course.
Thank you. Mayor Lutheran has officially approved their end of the land use agreement.
Yes.
So that is in good order. This is an updated, Jason Clark continues to work on updating this. He's actually working on getting this GIS mapped into the county software, which would be nice. So in here you have more detailed on the lengths of the holes. So you if you were to look at this a little closer, that's the hole number. That's its total length. The number in red is the width of the fairway. We tried to keep that in 6-foot increments because that's what our mowers are. We want this to be as maintenance friendly as possible.
Mhm.
The red line here, that's a snowmobile trail. We wanted to position things that were not interfering too much with the snowmobile trail. The purple area is kind of a walk around path of, it's not related to the course itself necessarily, but if people wanted to walk around the
Is
property,
that their cross-country course?
coincides with that as well.
Okay.
So that's more of a complete with the disc golf course, incorporating the cross-country trail in there as well. Because we want to be mindful of that as well. Otherwise, just a more detailed map of it. City Council had this as a discussion item at their last meeting. Our good mayor, we talked about sponsorships, all of that. The good mayor would like to see us have sponsorships in hand before we proceed with the project. Then he also shared that he had mentioned something about some boards, some image boards that were done years ago about CIP. It seems like CIP planning for the park project or the park improvements in general. I wasn't able to find those boards, but the more information I gathered and more it sounded like it was a visualization of
Mhm.
what we've
Were you
been
here?
doing.
We did any of that?
But,
The move stuff around in the parks?
He said it was a vision board where you guys just kind of
Yeah,
had
we
Post-its.
took little images that were cut out and pasted them on a map of the parks. I don't know if you were here yet
Oh,
at
that's
that time.
fancy.
So yeah, it was quite a while ago. I couldn't remember
I know, I
exactly
asked
how
if it
long
was in
ago,
an
but
attic somewhere or something.
yeah, like I say, I think that might have even been with Luann. So that was,
He said Luann. Mhm.
yeah. So, yeah. And like I say, that wasn't anything in concrete. That was just kind of us figuring out some sort of a plan for the future because we really didn't have anything
Mhm.
discussed or anything down that was like, well, what should we have in this park and what, how do we divide some of these things up? So that's kind of what that was a visual CIP,
Mhm.
right? And that's a changing document all the time. So,
Yeah, and that's why we have it on the agenda tonight to start that review process.
right.
As new ideas come up and others drop off for some reason, we keep this fluid and changing. So it's not just this is set in stone because we set it in stone 15 years ago and now we follow it blindly. So,
But to his point, it was, why are we focusing on this when there was other stuff in the back burner that we aren't addressing, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came, the good mayor mentioned that, and I think that's where we evaluate each year what the CIP ought to
Right.
be.
Right. And I don't know, I mean, I'm not sure what exactly he's hung up on. I mean, like I said, it was kind of
it was one of those things, the
Well-
idea came up and it's an easy one to get done. And
right.
I know what he mentioned was, if I may, if
Mhm.
that's okay,
Yeah.
that since the splash pad and everything is kind of coming to a completion, that he thought we would maybe take a pause then and go back and readdress and relook at the things that were kind of thought about over the years before jumping into another project. And I mean, did you get a chance to speak with the mayor about that? No.
I haven't yet.
So we didn't vote on it yet. So it's back here
Okay.
to discuss. I don't know if we justify prioritizing it or not, or is that what you're thinking? I don't know.
And that's what I want to come back to the board with, brought back with some questions from the park board. We've been doing work on it. I know it's a project you guys have wanted to do, but I don't know if we've actually sent up a unified voice one way or another of this is what we'd want to do, or we're okay putting it on the back burner and taking a break and do other stuff.
What was his view on sponsorship? Was it the 250 annually or 1,000 one deal or?
Didn't
They
necessarily.
liked
Really?
both, but
Okay.
they just wanted to see a commitment because they didn't know how legit that was. That if
Okay.
anybody would actually do that. So they
Yeah.
wanted us to get kind of feelers out in the community and see if anybody would commit now
Okay.
to sponsoring ahead of it. I brought up the question, how do you get people to sponsor if we're not even committed to doing it?
Yeah.
But the council agreed, I think, that it was a doable thing to speak.
I guess I would
businesses.
say then we need to get like a plan like you have there so we can then propose it to the sponsors in town that would be interested.
Businesses and
Businesses.
sponsors.
So they
yeah.
were, we should get a mock-up plaque, what it would be, what size it would be.
That's a good idea.
And what would be your interest, annual or just one-time type of thing?
Mhm.
And I know a few people we can talk to in town. I'm sure Mike does, you do. I mean,
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
could-
We did tell them
we
we'd
could,
offer
I
town
feel
first,
feeling I
so-
could have it sold in a week, but
Oh, see, and that's good, I think.
there's enough people in town here that would do it.
I think so.
I think there was a little question over that, how committed people would be to doing that. But
I mean, it's something a
I
lot of
think
people are
that's
gonna
great.
see.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I mean, if the way you're talking, I mean, Frisbee golf it's been going for 30 years, if not longer.
That and disc golf and pickleball are the top two recreation sports.
Right,
Yep.
right.
I mean, I like that you brought this out because it'd probably be good to look and make sure we're not missing something that's more important.
Yep. So in last year, we went through a ranking process like this where we had all of these listed. And if there's something that's not on there that we miss, you might take this home and over the course of the month, you go, well, we forgot about this here. Well, we bring those things in and say, well, what about doing this in the park? Add it to the list, figure out where it ought to be prioritized, get costs associated with it, and meld that in with the CIP itself. So you look at a long term through here. I didn't print off the whole thing just because you won't be able to. When you pull on the financial side, I'm trying to plan out stuff towards 2050, a little smaller.
Right. So are we gonna jump ahead to 9 then, or do you wanna?
I'd like to we'll wrap up on disc
Disc golf.
golf first.
I'm excited about the project, personally. I think it gives the community something else to do. Some of maybe the older kids or adults that aren't so much into the splash pad. I think we can bring hopefully a lot of people into town with some interest in having another amenity, and then hopefully, visiting some of our other establishments in town. And
Yeah, that's what the
I
biggest
brought-
goal was.
and
is
that's
for
right.
people to come to town and they haven't been here before and go, oh, hey,
right.
let's
I
check
brought
this out.
that exact idea up at city council. I said, I think it potentially could bring revenue to the city because people don't know we're here. I mean,
Yep.
people say you're from Waconia, because nobody knows where Mayor is.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's gotten better, but
It has, yeah.
Right. And speaking with, Jason and a couple of the other guys that have been working on this, I mean, they have a vision of hopefully holding tournaments and, putting this, they have an app or something that they use, and they keep scores of all these other places they go and play. And it's kind of, it's
it's like we're
like a
golf.
tournament, but yeah, I mean, and I think it can only do really good things for the community. I mean, I know there's some other projects that we may have, but I don't think that any of these other projects are going to bring interest into the city like I feel this will.
Well, this helps bring money in. I mean, if
Right.
we have sponsorship, that's why I kind of leaning towards annual because, well, then, yeah, it'll pay itself off in 3 years, but then it'll go towards other projects in town then,
Right.
the revenue. So, I mean,
Is there a way to bring some of this evidence of the popularity of the sports and what they think? You're talking about Jason talking
Oh,
about.
yeah, I'm sure.
Could
I mean,
bring
we
some
can
of
get
that to the
these
council
guys.
That shows.
I mean, I'm sure that,
the
that
need.
we get these guys interested in coming to a council meeting, and I mean, I'm sure that they would.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty avid players. They're playing all the time, and.
I mean, because I think if it
just
can be
it's-
shown that it's going to be something that's lucrative, or not even lucrative, but really just gives more face value to mayor or whatever. And like you said, gives people things to do other than the splash pad. I don't have little ones anymore.
And that's, yeah, I mean, teenagers and stuff, I mean,
Mhm.
they're not going to be interested in splash pad. It's but it gives them another alternative than just maybe playing basketball or hitting a ball on a ball field. I mean, this gives them another option of
Yep.
maybe something to do without having to,
get in trouble.
right,
Which is good.
right. I mean,
something to do outside. And
it's a little bit of exercise. It's outside. It's,
Well, and then to show that it's, again, going back to the CIP, that it's a higher priority project then, that the other
Right.
things aren't as pressing.
right. Yeah. So
I think that's the mayor's concern. I don't think he was necessarily kiboshing it. He just said. he
Right, and-
Yeah, it wasn't
like-
against it, just wasn't sure it was the highest of priorities.
just because like things we want to do in Meadow, that stuff's going to cost a lot more money. This is something that's,
well, it's not, yeah. And
I mean,
for me, it's not even about the money. It's about, we can build gazebos. We can, build these other things. But how much service are people gonna get out of that? I mean,
Yeah.
you're limiting yourself to one group. Maybe it's, whereas this I feel is something that's broader and a bigger spectrum than just a gazebo at a park.
Well, in my opinion too, I mean, I think it's huge that it's partnering essentially, not a full partnership, but with Mayor Lutheran. Because now you've got a whole bigger community
Right.
and that's involved here. Because bringing businesses in to help with our city is what we want.
Yeah.
And now you've got a huge school that has a huge outreach that they're going to bring people to
Right.
the disc. I mean, I
And we don't know
don't
what
even
they'll
play
end up doing
disc golf,
with
and
it,
I was like, hey, that's
right? And
pretty great. But
who knows what they'll end up doing with it in the future?
right,
I mean, they may have clubs where they're having tournaments and
Right.
they're having,
well,
for all we know, it could be an Olympic sport in a few years, and then everybody's going to want to play it.
and didn't you show too? There are other things that we'll be able to do there. You'll have pavilions and things, or what were you talking about that potentially in the future for other usage
Hey,
for
Eric.
disc golf?
Yeah, we'll have to.
Wasn't there something like a
I'm not remembering that
Like a-
part.
part where they could have? There was a little like a concrete part where they could put.
Oh, so that was up in Discovery Park, I believe. Was that with the pickleball courts up here?
Yeah, and was that by the disc golf course or no?
Yes. So that's by the disc golf course. So that's located right
Oh,
up
I
here.
see. Okay,
Yeah, and we've talked about, there again, putting a pavilion or a
that's what I was
gazebo or
thinking
something
about.
up there. And,
Yeah,
Yeah, putting a
and,
gazebo up here.
I mean, and like I say, those are great for shelter and whatever, but we're not going to get anybody into town to sit under a gazebo.
right.
Unless
We're
there's a
not going to,
purpose.
and you're not, a lot of times, I know growing up in town here, that was just a place for all of us to meet and
Mm.
cause trouble.
Yeah.
It was. So,
Well, it's like Waconia has I work right across from it.
mhm.
It's pretty, it's cute. It's used at Christmas time and during events.
Right.
Nickel, dickle, but otherwise nobody's in it.
Right. Maybe a wedding here and there, but
I've never seen a wedding out there, but yeah,
I performed on that.
probably
yeah,
have
that-
been. I'm so used to seeing dead people, yeah. So, yeah.
But yeah,
I can speak from my experience. The first city I worked for, Canby, we put in a 9-hole disc golf course in 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. And it went gangbusters. We had people playing in winter.
Oh,
The
wow.
school district used it for community ed and student programs. We had tournaments there as part of the community celebration days. And then just on its own,
yeah.
there were tournaments held there.
I mean, that's what I'm envisioning. I'm envisioning this thing getting a lot of use. So I
It
don't
did get a
know
lot of
what
use.
anybody else's ideas or opinions are, but
I mean, and I know we're
That's
going
what I
back to
figured-
the
that's
sea.
why I'm-
And Canby is a community that's 9 miles from the South Dakota border. That was a population of 1,800.
right.
And I know I'm going back to the CIP too, but they talked about like the skate parks. I'm like, well, how many people actually use the skate park? I mean, how many?
There's kids that do, but
I was gonna say I see quite a few. I mean, I don't know how to judge it against like the other facilities. It's
Right,
like
well, judging
it's like
against the golf course. Yeah.
well, yeah, I think that'll probably draw more.
Mhm.
But I mean, when we go to the park next to the skate park, I
Yeah.
mean, there's almost always a kid or two
Okay.
out there. So I don't know what the threshold is for like
Yeah,
like
I thought it died with
high
my
use,
generation.
I mean, there's
No, no.
kids out there all the time.
That's Gen Xers. Okay. Well, so then we have to, what do we do in order to?
Yeah, what are next steps? I mean, do you put feelers out? Do we ask questions?
I like the idea of having a mock-up.
I would say have a mock-up plaque, meet with Jason, set up for the next council. So then we have a plaque that if that's enough time, if we need 2 months or whatever it needs to be, but this is the prime time to get it done is sooner
Absolutely.
than later.
Absolutely.
But then, have our ducks in a row, maybe did you speak on to the mayor of what your can be?
We've talked about that a bit as well in private. He
Okay,
knows my experience there.
okay,
That was just his stance on it.
yep.
Right.
that's where we come back to the park board, because I don't know if we ever send. I know in previous meetings, we've all been excited. Well, some of the membership has changed a little bit, but we were all pretty excited. This came up as an option. Andy and Jason came in and they talked to us about it. Seemed like a fantastic idea. So bam, we jumped on it. Yeah, did it jump up in front of a bunch of this stuff? Sure did.
Okay.
But when a good idea crops up,
You know, and we've had other
The philosophy-
ideas that we've looked at. We've looked at archery, which isn't gone, but there again, you're kind of limiting yourself on who's going to use the archery, you know, and
Yeah.
then you have people worried and nervous about letting their, you know, young adults or whatever go out there and shoot and you know, so this is just something that I feel is just, it's just an easy recreational thing that can, you know, bring people into town and
Well, and I don't think the cost is too high, to be
No,
honest.
for the amenity, for the price, I don't
Right.
think there's anything that beats it.
Right.
Like as a new amenity, like that's
and it's just
That's-
something we
that's-
never had thought of. I mean,
that's dirt cheap compared to anything else. we've
I
seen.
like I said, I've never played disc golf. I'm excited to try it.
I know.
I
I've seen the
never
one at
would have
Crown.
thought of it on my own.
I've seen people walking around Crown not even playing, walking with people that are playing. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, that's pretty. That's fun.
Well, and yeah, we've been talking this in the board for about 6 months. The mayor doesn't know we talked about it for 6 months, so.
Yeah, I mean,
So
we've
he's
been-
like,
Yeah, so I personally would like to pursue it. I don't know if anybody has any other feelings on it, but yeah, I mean, this is something I feel that we can.
So just coming in late, is there just mayor just basically asked a question, kind of where did this come from type of thing, or let's make sure we want to do this before we do it.
yeah, that was basically the feeling. It came out quick. I was looking at minutes. It was about a year ago in
Yeah.
April when we.
Okay.
Andy
oh,
first
maybe,
came
yeah, a
in.
year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was April when Andy first came in and just mentioned the idea to us at the meeting. So it's relatively new and we've been working on it. And I think it's just that we've had all this other stuff in the mix and now this is jumping the line to get to the front. So there might be, I haven't talked to him, so careful what I go assuming his thought
Yeah,
processes
right.
are on camera. But for me, if I have a good idea that crops up, it can jump the line if it's a really good idea.
Well, and he
And
mentioned
makes sense.
possibly taking a pause because we had just finished.
Sure, another
doing
big
the splash
project.
pad.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm also a foot on the gas type of project person. It's like, yeah, bam, 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 let's
Right.
go, go,
I-
go.
My thought is if we had a vocal, someone come in and actually speak to it, which we don't really have for almost anything. And so like that gives,
Right.
for me, like puts weight on it. Well, it's like, oh, there's enough appetite for someone to come speak
Yeah.
about it.
Mhm.
Also, as long as we're not, I think as long as we're not jeopardizing our ability to maintain anything that we currently have, I don't see a reason to pause unless there was something we really, really wanted to do that we were then having to like push off. And on our list, like, aside from the only other thing in my mind that I personally would like to see is some sort of, other use on the backside of Westridge, but I don't have a personal opinion of what that should be.
Right.
Or like,
And we've
right
kicked a lot
now,
of things
so,
around there and
yeah.
it's like, well,
Well, they did bring up the parking lot too, the possible parking lot by the park, by the soccer
Down at-
field.
down at Meadow.
Mhm.
Which I thought about this after the fact, to be fair, but we're going to probably be having construction on Dollar General in that intersection. I don't know. That seems like a pretty big project to undertake. Isn't that right across the street?
Kitty corner, yeah.
So we had talked about entrance up around the 5th Street-ish area as one of the possible ones.
We go straight through. Yeah, that's what we had talked about, straight through.
Because we've got right of way here in between the two properties,
Mhm.
possibly in here into parking here. So relatively speaking, oops, wrong one. That's the Dollar General lot. Right there.
Yeah.
And that's a potential entrance.
Okay. So it's a little further down.
That would be the only real option. I mean, I don't think the one on the other end
Sixth Street, maybe you'd have to move you'd have to do a lot of stuff.
How, was there, let me just ask, because, new to the park board.
Mhm.
When did this come up? Was there a big demand for it when it first came up, that people wanted more parking options over there?
There wasn't really, it was an idea that we discussed because there isn't a real access to that park.
Yeah,
Right. So that was something that nobody came and asked about it. I don't think that we've ever brought it up at any of our events. It was just something that we had kind of looked at and said, well, some parking back there would be nice.
okay.
The issue with the parking is the way ordinances are set. It's got to be asphalt
Mhm.
or concrete. It's got to, there's so many measures that we're not talking a cheap project.
Right.
I mean, this is not
Yeah.
something that's just, throw some gravel down and call it a day. This is, that's.
We gotta do sewer.
Is
Did
the
you have a
trails
mock-up
or-
for that?
is the trail
Storm
down
sewer.
from
Storm
sewer.
Meadow compliant? Or is that
Uh,
getting
curb.
updated as part of the trails project?
Oh,
Did I
yeah,
have
coming
it in
down
there?
from Meadow.
'Cause,
So
like,
I've got those we're dabbling in number. Oh, it's fine. We can bounce a little bit, but in Meadow Park
Yeah.
on the CIP, the parking lot itself is about 60 grand for
Yeah.
15 stalls. The trail reconstruction is about 70,000, 69, 70,000.
Because I was just kind of wondering, like, Westridge doesn't have anything more than that. It's very equivalent, like the distance you're
It is.
walking from Meadow down to the park.
Because you got to park up
Versus-
here to really access.
Yeah,
This
but that's
area.
about the same you're doing in Westridge. Like, there's not anything better in Westridge. Like, you're parking along along the alley.
Yeah, we put that parking in the alley there.
So
because
my
there was
question
no
is, like,
parking there.
do we actually need to provide parking versus just like street parking?
That's
It's
kind of
like
where,
a community
where I was
park.
going with it.
Like, you probably you already have to do the trail reconstruction. Like, that's kind of a needed. So, like, do we have to do more additional parking than is available along the street there, or is it just because it's less visible?
Right. Because we know, when my kids were little, never went to the park.
Or are we trying to
that where we
encourage
talked
use of
about
the
there?
soccer fields?
We don't go there a
'Cause-
lot.
Because we didn't know how to get in there, for one. It just wasn't
Yeah.
on our radar. We always went to the other parks that were easy accessible. But that being said, we didn't necessarily drive to them.
We walk.
rode
there.
advice
Yeah, we
or
walk
walked.
to a
Yeah,
park.
so I don't know
Yeah.
the demand for a parking area.
Unless
Granted,
it's
it's
a
really
cold
great
day.
here because you've got all the stuff. but-
I think I remember us talking about it was like about trying to promote use of the soccer fields.
Oh, okay.
for
That's
Meadow,
what I was
yes.
wondering.
Yes.
For Meadow,
Okay.
That was the reason
Because
why.
I've been approached that people would like to rent the field for their soccer
I
programs.
see. Okay.
Okay.
I was wondering
So-
what the draw.
I was just curious what that neighborhood would think.
If you're adding,
Yeah, between the properties now. you're
Well,
putting a
yeah, the
parking lot.
properties, and then there's, the homes that are kind of around that
I know, I
Meadow
was kinda
area
wondering
there.
the same thing.
I just don't know if
Were there feelers put out about any of it at the time?
not that I know of. I don't think anybody's
But-
ever. I know it's still,
Devil's advocate, parking in parks is a normal thing.
it is,
So
it is.
if they don't like it, well, nearly every park I've ever been to has parking
yeah.
True,
with residential around it. So it's
True.
not a new concept.
true.
If they don't like it, maybe you can put up some shrubbery to help stop the headlights, but
How do you,
Fence.
I
Yeah,
think it's prioritizing, and again, we're gonna have to go back to,
and that's what I'll get back to is, yeah, a parking lot would be nice there, but you weigh that against something like a disc golf course. I'm in disc
Partnered
golf
with the
course
school.
for a
territory.
third of the cost that potentially could bring,
And it's a new amenity, and like there's nothing currently impeding, actually impeding anyone's use of that at the moment.
correct.
So it's like, yes, that's a nice thing, but it'd also be nice to have a whole new amenity for a lot less money.
Mhm. Well, and all the things we talked about, bringing the revenue to the city, partnering with the school. I don't know. The potential there, I think, is a lot bigger than
a
parking
lot.
spaces for.
I agree. I would love to see a parking lot there. I mean, we've talked about that for quite a while, but I just don't see the urgent importance.
To me,
If it could go
That
gravel,
area
it'd be
needs
much
more
quicker
planning.
reality.
Yeah.
In my
If we could
opinion
go
too,
gravel, we would have done it a long time ago.
but in my opinion too, that area almost needs a little bit more planning.
I personally would like to see, like, I don't know, I'm assuming we've done this before, but you know, we have a lot of space there. We have a lot of space in Westridge. We have a lot of space in the what we affectionately refer to as the swamp. I would,
That
I,
better
I
not
mean,
be
I'd
my
be open to. Is that whatever's on the end of
Cold
4th
water?
Street
Oh, no,
at the dead end
Down
of
here.
4th Street?
The swamp.
down by you,
Referred- yeah,
Yep.
down by
The
me.
swamp.
behind Mayor Lutheran there, yeah.
So I mean, I almost I'd be open to or interested in pursuing like a potential like consultant where he hires like a group who does park planning or something like that and be like, these are the spaces we have. Like, can we get some ideas or something like that? Because it would just suck to do something with one of these large spaces and then be like, oh man, it really would have been nice if we would have done that, but we didn't think about it. I don't know. I'm
Well,
just
that's what I mean
spitballing.
by,
don't know-
I
don't
feel
know if
like
we've
it
ever
needs,
done that or if,
I feel like it
No.
needs more planning. And so this is something, disc golf's ready to go. Yeah, so it's jumped ahead, yeah, but it doesn't require a lot.
Yeah, we
get it
didn't have to
going.
hire
That's
any
another advantage.
architects. We
No.
didn't have to hire any.
Right.
Nobody was hired. It was all volunteer
That's
done.
another,
Yeah,
That's
so
another
that saved 20
positive.
grand right there.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've got Mayor Lutheran agreeing to assist kind of with the
Right.
property.
that is a huge thing. Like, I
Absolutely.
think
yeah,
you can't look
having the go
the
ahead.
property in the face. Like, they're willing to let us just use that basically for
Right.
a
Well, it's,
handshake agreement, basically.
Right.
city mows their lawn and they don't have to pay for mowing the
Yeah.
lawn themselves, and then we
Right.
get to use the
Brings people
property.
to
I
their
mean, it's kind of
school. It's a
win-win.
win-win.
Like, where are we
Yeah.
going to find that chunk of land for that?
I
And
think
it's
this is
like
a
right
really-
Rent free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
sees it when you go
It's on
through town.
25.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, look at that.
So you guys are all coming to city council then, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I really feel
Absolutely.
like they need to hear all this because I do believe like the city council, that's why I was like, oh, shoot, I want to talk about this, but
Right. No, and that's,
I think it's a fair question.
we've done that with
And-
other
Yeah,
stuff where we've
absolutely.
come to.
Well,
yeah,
we
to
talked
have
about it
them-
with the pavilion
Right.
last time,
Yep,
where it was
going to-
there was some, wanted to make sure this is what we
Questions
wanted
and-
to do. and
Yep.
well, I even said at city council, I
absolutely
said
fair.
to his comment, I said, well, I'd like to see that other list. And here it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Of things that are pressing,
Yeah.
and seeing,
But
how
here again,
pressing
I
these
mean,
things
some
are.
of these things have been on the list since, good gracious, 2007 or 8 when I started on here.
well,
Or
and
9 or 10.
getting
I don't
the disc
remember when it
golf
was.
thing
but-
going doesn't mean we can't start planning for some of these other things. Because the
Yeah.
other things are going to require time.
Right, and every year these things have been moved around and shifted from year to year to year. What makes more sense now than it did back then? We've taken stuff off. What doesn't make sense?
The timing and everything just seems really right for the
I agree.
disc golf, in my opinion.
I think you can't say no when the school's willing to partner with us like that.
What do you
That's
think, new park board member?
I definitely think it's a good idea. I mean, yeah, older kids and adults, and yeah, if the school's going to let us use it, then I think that it would be a good addition for sure. What town is closest to us that has a disc golf course? Is there one?
Well,
What?
like
Near
you said,
us?
St. Bonnie.
Watertown,
Crown
Watertown has one.
Yeah.
Watertown
Crown
has one?
College.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are a handful around us, but this adds another. Disc golf players like to go to different courses because if they just play the same one over and over again, it gets boring.
They're like
sure.
golfers.
Well,
Yeah, they like to have their
golf.
choices and
Right?
mosey around, and this will be another one that gets put in the rotation. And hopefully one day we have, like I said, have tournaments here.
Yeah.
Qualifiers for other things. 'Cause that's where we're designing the standard to.
I mean, school uses it.
That's
for
the thing, is the biggest
whatever.
thing is you're designing it to have tournaments. You're not just
Willy-nilly
willy-nilly
throwing it out there.
throwing it out
Yeah.
there.
Jason come too and speak on his knowledge of it too and how it's being, I mean, to show how, I mean, to me, it's so well planned out. It's,
The group did an
Incredible.
excellent job.
yeah.
Yeah, they've got, I know that the guys have gone out there and they've thrown it, they've changed it, they've thrown it, They've changed it again. They've gone out and thrown it. They've worked hard on this and
We're
From
within
what-
budget.
From one of the major disc golf companies, they have sent over a former professional disc golfer to look at our course, walk it with us. So there's been quite a bit of thought put into it. It's just not slapped down here, this
Right.
works.
right.
Yeah, I think that should all be presented.
It's been
to the city
professionally
council.
reviewed.
Mhm.
Was this something, like obviously you have to get funding, but was this something you hopefully wanted to start right away? Or is this something like what you did at the splash pad when the park board came to the city festival? And you asked people's opinions on what they wanted? Like,
Just
just to
knowing,
put feelers out for,
We talked about doing that, actually.
so my counter to this is, nobody seems to push back when we say pickleball. Why?
Right.
Exactly.
Nobody asked for
because the word
feelers.
is everywhere.
Nobody asked for feelers on pickleball, and now disc golf as up there, number one, number two, recreation sport is
Yeah.
suddenly under the microscope.
And like I say, we've had a lot.
Why
of
that,
people-
not pickleball?
And it's not like we don't have another one. Like we've got the baseball field, we've got soccer, we've got ice rink, well, potential ice rink. We've got, and that's 300 grand to make
Yeah,
that nicer,
you know,
We've got the basketball and all these other things. This is one more outdoor thing.
And we're still doing the pickleball in the
Yeah.
right.
We're gonna stripe them.
But we did
Yep.
talk about having it at the festival that you do too, is having a little booth with,
Yeah, we had,
I
that
called them
was-
frisbees, but was quickly corrected.
Discs.
I
So-
probably would have called them a frisbee.
Yeah, I'm with
They probably would be frisbees at the festival, but
But yeah, having my own experience, done one of these projects before and witnessed how popular it was, and I know it's still as popular as it has ever been, if not more. I know it'll be good. I think a lot of the stuff bringing people to town, I mean, that's all good stuff, but in my mind, the primary is, I think we probably all feel it, this is gonna be great for our own residents.
for our
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
I agree. I just for
mayor as a
community use.
whole, I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything else is icing and cherries on top.
Yeah.
Yep.
Try something new that they haven't tried because it's right in your backyard.
Well, and maybe then you'll need the bike racks because people will be stopping.
That's
right. Putting their bikes somewhere.
That is right.
Do we need a motion or?
I don't,
Yeah, so what is it
do
that
we
we're
need a motion?
exactly?
I don't think we need a motion. Is there something to motion?
There's nothing to motion. I guess I want to make sure the board's wishes and desires to see this done are
I
expressed.
think we're reiterating our support for the project.
Yeah.
And we'd love to come talk to council about it if they'd like to hear it.
And reaffirming that it's the right time.
But at the same
And
time,
why
our
it's
council,
above
so
other
we need to
things.
be there.
Yeah.
Jason or whoever
Mhm.
needs to be
Yep.
there. And then if we could have a mock-up plaque there to show what it would look for the sponsorship. So that way we're all, we get this done in a more
You
quicker,
have 6 days.
expedited as soon
Right.
as we can.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably get
know.
that done.
I'm kidding, but
I think next council meeting will be the
Is
one or the one after that.
6
I mean,
days from
after.
now.
One
So I was gonna
after,
say
probably.
maybe in,
Done Monday.
Yeah, so the one after, yes.
Oh, this coming Monday?
yeah.
Yeah, the one after that.
I mean,
Probably be
I'll
about-
be there, but
Unless you want it.
We're all of a sudden gun ho. Oh, we can wait 3 weeks.
No, I'm just saying, I mean, I don't know if
To
we can
a
get
mock-up
everything pulled
plaque and
together.
Stuff. I'm
Well,
just
you
thinking-
don't
Yeah,
I'm
like
thinking-
if,
I'm
to get
thinking
a,
that's
the
gonna
package
take
How about
a little
this?
together for 'em.
Plan for Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I will work on getting that mock-up tag board, put it on a tag board.
Yep.
You know, your
That's fine.
3x4, 2x3.
I'm in
whatever
town.
it is.
Whatever we're thinking. Are we
Nope.
thinking, what size are you thinking?
Up on an easel. Well, I can send this out too.
yeah, I would.
Yeah,
have that
I
out
would
too.
do that
In
too.
fact, that
And I
looks
will-
better than what we saw at the last council meeting because it's even more.
Now, if you want to reach
Yeah.
out to Jason, or if you want me to reach out to Jason, whatever, I mean, that's,
I've got a text message group with
okay, yeah. So please inform them and get them all on board and,
Yeah, I think we really need to reiterate the timing, especially.
because you guys saw this one.
yep, that was the original plan.
And see, that's what we saw.
Yep, that's what you
the
saw.
last meeting.
This one was as of the 31st.
Yeah.
so
What's
it's
the-
post that council?
Yeah,
meeting.
What's the dark
dot?
red line?
Oh, yeah. So the red line is a
We weren't here.
snowmobile trail.
Oh, okay.
The purple line is a walking path throughout the course that also incorporates the cross country
Nice.
path.
What's the dotted blue line?
Dotted blue lines are the walking paths between holes.
That's what I thought. Okay.
The cross country, is that open to the?
Does Mary
Public
Lisa
or is that
not use
just near
that
Lincoln?
field for soccer anymore?
No, not
That's
really.
what that big,
They're down-
that's what that
that's
big
lower.
rectangle is.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, and she doesn't know that they offered it to us or to let us use it as long as we mow it. That was it, essentially.
We mowed the soccer field and they'll let us, 'cause this is all their property.
And there was something if they have a certain amount of period.
yeah.
time.
There's a 6-month period that if, let's say somebody comes in and they want to develop that property, they have to give us 6 months notice and then we just tear everything out.
Sure.
No.
So really, there weren't a lot of stipulations other than that. It's not
Nope.
like we're purchasing the land, we're not doing,
So then we're just out concrete per se. We still have the baskets. We have the stuff when we can move it somewhere else in town.
Right.
So I mean, we gotta look at that too. I mean,
Right.
okay,
But realistically,
more
what are the odds
landscaping.
of this developing?
Right.
it's gonna
There's
be,
other,
We got a lot of other area
other,
that's
yeah, ready to go.
kind of prepped and ready for development.
that's
and
whether
this
or
would
not
be
the
a lot.
school does something, but
Yeah.
that's gonna be long-term.
I think the school. will
They would have
enjoy
said
this.
something
I
if-
think this will be a
If they
draw.
had something on the books, I'm sure.
Yeah, right now, but I'm
Yeah.
saying like 10, 15 years.
Oh
from
yeah.
now for
Well,
them
if
to-
this lasts 10, 15 years, I think
That
we've-
would be
it
good
paid
use
for
of it,
itself.
but-
Yeah.
It's like,
3 times.
And it's good for the school. I mean, you've got one of these right next to Crown College. It's good for the school.
Yep.
It just is.
Yeah,
The
instead
kids will
of
see it, they'll want to
the
be out
kids
there.
hanging out in school,
Yeah.
they can just walk out and do a few holes
Yep.
and come back to school.
Right.
They can do
There's open
programming
hours
around
and
it.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they can open hour, or, lunch hour and
Yeah.
different
Gym
things.
class.
They have blocked.
council
class?
meetings normally at
Yeah.
6:30 too.
What was that?
Yes, Monday night.
Yes,
Add it
Monday
to
night.
their
Next
summer,
Monday is our first.
their mayor nights.
Yeah,
Summer
council
class.
Monday,
Have to.
6:30.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Monday night.
Splash pad.
Let's plan on it.
Splash pad update, much shorter. Next 2-3 weeks, they should be back to do concrete. They pressure tested the lines last week. They found a couple of small leaks. Those have been repaired. I think next week, they will be back to doing the backfilling on some of the areas,
Okay.
getting that all graded up 2-3 weeks concrete. Install it once that's done, installation of features, they'll be working on the equipment room, getting all that wired up. The plans are at the Department of Health. They've been approved. We just need to line up inspection once it's all done.
Okay.
So that's all good, raring to go. Then our plan is the trail was approved. All segments were
Good.
approved to be constructed.
Okay.
The idea is we're going to try to align that to come in right at, it's going to piggyback right off the end of the splash pad. So splash
Yeah.
pad's done, concrete poured, trails start going in. As soon as that's done, we're hydro seeding the whole area.
Good.
So by festival, it's
I was
Green.
gonna say,
Hopefully,
It's gonna be
Hopefully.
beautiful.
when is the splash
the
pad set
hydromulch
to be done?
fertilizer is green
When is the
anyway.
tentative
We
date?
have a tentative opening for June,
Should be done in May.
but we have a,
Grand opening is June 7th.
June 7th.
We'll likely be open before that, but the grand opening will be June 7th.
Awesome.
Is the plan for that.
And then the trail and seating should be ready by July 12th?
Oh, seating is part of the splash pad.
Okay,
So that's being installed with the splash pad.
okay.
Trail should be piggybacking right on, we're gonna try to align that as best as possible. Engineer and I spoke yesterday. We're trying to line up the pre-construction meeting with the company to make sure we have everything in play on that.
yeah, so keep your people off our lawn.
We'll likely have snow fence around, because the grass won't be established yet. We're gonna have snow fence around it to keep the kids from running out back in.
Okay, so
and
they're
out
hydro
and
seating up by the pavilion, the new pavilion?
Get grass established. Right now up front, we have a bunch of rock and gravel.
Yeah.
Beyond the asphalt, all that's coming out. We're putting it in black dirt, hydro
Okay.
seeding that.
Okay.
We'll make decisions on future parking in the future.
That'll be great.
Oh, then we have to plant some trees too.
Yep. Cool.
It's gonna be beautiful.
It will look really nice.
Been a long time coming.
That's the splash pad update. Easy one there.
Okay. Next.
Music in the park.
Music in the,
Yeah, but where are we at with that?
we're just starting the talks on.
Okay,
it.
that's what I was.
don't remember talking about this.
Well, we had talked about making sure Mike was available, and we had talked about.
We like to get, so this is in September. I don't know if we wanted to change that date at all. I know there was talks about potentially changing it, but Fire Department 125th is on September 20th. Music in the Park would normally land on September 27th this year, that Saturday. So it'd be a week after the 125th.
Can't go any further than that. It could potentially get pretty cold after that.
We had one year where it was like 90 something degrees. And
Yeah,
Yeah, it was really
sometimes.
warm.
Oh, it was yeah. We've had
It's
2
so
years that were
unpredictable
pretty
that time of
warm.
year.
Yeah.
But it was,
Sometimes it's really
it
hot.
was a lot better having it in the pavilion area this last year. So last year we had Michael Handler as the music, Lions did food, baseball club was there, cookie store. We had an ice cream truck last minute, which was awesome. What else do we have? Do we have anything else
The horse,
The horses,
pony
for
rides.
food?
the pony ride.
Pony rides aren't food.
No, they're not.
In some countries. but-
Somebody needs dinner.
For entertainment, we had pony rides, we had bounce houses, we had archery range. Those three things
Those 3 things.
seemed to go over really well.
Yeah.
That's good size. I don't know how much bigger we actually want to make things. That seemed
That
good.
sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, it was a good turnout last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless there's major changes, I'll start lining all of that up once again. If anybody thinks of anything, feel free to shoot an email on it. This would be a great idea for food option or an entertainment. Or,
So baseball club. We no longer have Grimshaw. We don't have insurance for liquor because we don't have a team to provide liquor for it. So,
Drop the ball, haven't you?
so we may need to look for another option if we are looking to have somebody provide
gotcha.
adult beverages.
Can one of the bars in town like do it?
Unless they have a cater, if they have a caterer's license, yes.
Oh.
Yes. So, that would be
So
the
we have
only.
Do either of them have it?
Knuckleheads does.
Oh.
Well, no, Knuckleheads does not. Sorry.
Oh.
But they can serve up at the community center. The way state law works, we're allowed to authorize them up at the community center, but not anywhere else.
It's only 100 feet that way.
Isn't it part of the community center?
Off the corner, we can set them up right.
What if
off
we have
the
like a
corner.
little paper mache tunnel? Like
Yeah.
And Health doesn't do catering. so
Yes, he does.
They do?
Health does.
Oh, so
Oh.
they could.
Health's good.
Health does?
what do they cater?
What does
They
he
don't have any
cater?
food.
He does events up here.
Oh.
He just did, what was your, not the fish fry, but before that was a big thing. Not gun club. There was something
Bingo.
he catered for.
Well, yeah, ask him then.
Okay.
Mike
Yeah,
has-
Mike. That's
Mike
Mike.
would do.
yeah.
But they don't have a kitchen there, do they?
No, they bring it in warmers.
Oh, okay.
Hey, we have a kitchen, but it's not a commercial
No,
kitchen.
no, no. I mean, Health
Health
doesn't have a
does.
kitchen.
No, Health doesn't have a kitchen.
Can you get food there?
That's what I was wondering. They serve pizza.
I was gonna say.
They have frozen pizza. So maybe
Pizza.
they just bring in
He
pizzas.
caters.
Like,
He caters.
okay. Well, I'm not asking questions, I guess. Then, well, I mean, could we ask
And I
them
don't
if
know
they'd be
what-
interested? And
It's
Yeah.
possible who knows what her plan is with the Mexican, if they're gonna do any catering or not either.
Well, we talked
Yeah.
about,
They haven't indicated they're going to do catering, but if they are, great. But I haven't heard anything on that
Okay.
front. I think they're
Okay.
just still getting their feet under them
Okay.
with what they're doing so far.
So September 27th.
That would be the date.
mhm.
Michael Handler for music again, or we want to
Yes,
look
yep,
please.
yeah, he was good.
Yeah, he's
Sounds
great.
And then back to the CIP.
Yeah, I don't know if we need any other stuff for food, or, I mean, if anybody knows anybody with a food truck that would maybe want to be invited or?
There are a lot of food trucks around here now, but
Right, and
I
like.
mean,
like I
I'm sure
said,
you've been in contact with a lot, right?
No.
Not you.
Oh, Lord, I was like, I haven't been.
Grandma.
We tend to use, well, we use the Lions and we use the fire department mainly. And then we try and bring in like one other
Because like
food truck
elephant.
because we want
Oh, I
the
see.
Lions and the fire
Okay.
department to be able to, they just pay us 10%
Gotcha.
of what they bring in and they get to keep the rest.
I got you.
So
Because like Elephant Joe's has been. out
Elephant
there.
Joe's does come, yes. And then we had the Mexican taco
Yeah.
truck that sets up at Colony.
Can't.
Did he just show up though?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they weren't supposed. Yeah. There was a little bit of a misunderstanding
And then there's the
with that.
is it the Gouda one that always goes up to Mayor Lutheran?
Buddha Q. I've never spoken with them.
They've got
Sweet
their
Winks,
food.
though, if we want someone local, he's associated with Mayor Lutheran, so
And I'm fine with just sticking with maybe a dessert truck or two like we have, and then letting Lions serve hot
Yeah.
dogs or whatever, burgers, whatever
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
decide to serve. I'm perfectly fine with
Yeah.
that too.
I don't know if we
Kinda
need to
keep
go
it simple.
nuts with.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just throwing out ideas.
I mean, if there's an influx of another 100 people plus and there's lines everywhere, then we'll discuss it next
Yeah.
year and
I
go,
agree.
all
Right.
right, we need to get it on another
I
couple
agree.
Yeah, I
of food
feel
trucks so
yeah,
people have
that's a good
options.
idea.
I agree.
Yeah, let's let them make their what they can make off of it. So
Okay.
good. Yay. All right. Capital improvement plan.
CIP, pretty much gone through that already.
We kind of have.
So every year, as part of our CIP planning process, we do it for all the other major funds that the city has. This is what we've got in the listing so far. If anybody has any ideas, jot them down on the back. This is a living document. This is our document. We don't pay consultants to put this together for us. So this lives and breathes and grows and shrinks as we want it to suit the needs of our community. We've got it split up into the departments, which are by parks. That's what we've got listed for everything there. I've got costs associated with most of those things, was able to pull a lot of that together. But then it's rank ordering what we feel the highest priorities are. So it doesn't need to be, we don't need to rank order necessarily right now, but giving you this piece of paper, take it home,
Oh, that's nice.
Mhm.
start scribbling on it. So you can see up on here, there's some shaded in lines. It costs money to print in color, and I simply didn't deem this worthy enough to spend money on. So how this looks, actually, you have the gray one, the gray up top is actually yellow.
Highlighted.
I have those grouped together as far as notes, because that's more of the trail reconstruction, the paving, because we're potentially looking at a 2030 street project. So critical mass, you already have people with equipment in town doing that sort of work. It might make sense to wrap that in as part of those projects. Just trying to think into the future. The bottom one is the OS Old Schoolhouse Park baseball field improvements and rehab, since the baseball team is no longer in form or function. That's
Viable.
probably dropping off the list, or
Yeah.
at least much lower
For now.
priority.
What was that? If you build it, right?
Right. They will come.
If we build it, somebody may get them to come. I don't know.
Is there any safety concerns with the dugouts and stuff like that, though?
Like currently?
Yeah, currently.
They're questionable.
I mean,
Like, are
I
they
mean, they
think
are
we should
questionable.
like
put on the
that's,
list
like
at
they would
least.
collapse or something, or
I
what?
don't think they're that bad off, but I mean, they're
Not on the best of shape.
they're
Right.
yeah.
so I mean, in the next 5 years, we should maybe.
It probably is something that, dugouts probably should be looked at. Depending on how much Mayor Lutheran or whatever baseball, desires to use it.
I mean, they're using it right now.
The
so.
field could use some leveling.
Do they pay to use
Um,
the field?
The field could use some leveling. Pitcher's mound, the infield stuff is pretty, it needs to be redone.
But,
you
I
know.
mean, is there do it in phases. So if we did dugouts and did the field work, just do that for now.
I think it would be a good playable field for a lot of different things.
Okay.
How
So
costly is something like that? Dugouts and pitching mounds.
I don't know if I'd go with concrete dugouts again. I kind of like what Watertown did with theirs, you know, and some of the other ones with just a steel sided structure.
Oh,
You know, they're cost effective. They're easy to maintain.
Mhm.
Concrete can kind of, you know, like we all know how concrete can be, especially when it's suspended. You know, whatever. I don't know. What do you?
well, I mean, that way if we do metal, we can put some color to it. It's just not just a
Right.
concrete gray and kind of boring, you know.
And I
put
like.
city
I
colors
mean,
in it and-
but as
Yeah,
far
that
as
would look
cost,
nice.
what would you kind of, with your experience, roughly guess? I mean, you're
Let's
looking
say
20
5 to-
grand
Yeah, 20 grand, something like that.
between the
probably.
two of them.
Yeah. And whether or not we did a seat,
Plus
Oh.
removal.
unless we, you know,
Yeah.
if you do a pole barn frame type of thing, well, maybe we put a deck up there? Just as a, you know.
And that's a question too. I
you
mean,
know,
do
it'd be
we
a
plan on
fun
for
little
future?
thing for kids to
you
hang
know,
up there? I don't know if
potentially-
it'd be annoying for the players or not, someone being up there,
Well,
but
no, there's lots of them that have decks above their
Okay.
dugouts, and I mean that's the new thing now is everybody's got a deck.
I think
So-
you make it modular.
yeah.
Modular.
Yep.
Start with the dugouts, knowing that these dugouts are
Could
made
potentially
to
Yep.
be expanded.
incorporate a deck.
Yeah, for sure.
But
But you're saying that's not, that's super pressing right now.
as of this moment, I don't believe it is.
I haven't
So I
been out
think
there.
within 5 years, we need to rethink and reprioritize the baseball
Yes.
project.
Yes.
Like 2030 timeline, something
Yeah.
like that. Something.
Yeah.
30,
I mean, unless
30
we
to
start to
$50,000 for,
you know,
some
like I
rehab,
say, I mean,
basically.
those
in
dugouts are
2030.
deteriorating unless all of a sudden we would have something that would look.
Public Works would be able to do the removals on it. We've got the payloaders and whatnot.
So
So I'm penciling in 50K for baseball rehab in
that's- I mean,
2030.
Yeah, inflation, but it should be realistic.
I mean, for me, the biggest one on this list that I would like to see sooner than later is some of the lighting in some of the parks. I know Westridge gets a lot of night use. I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, I know you would know that, right?
Yeah.
And I know not all of it is.
Would that be annoying to have the light?
Is it plumb for Schedule 40 and just have to run wire to it or what?
There's nothing there.
Oh, nothing there. So we have
Nothing
to
there.
get-
Even if we just put we could put a little solar thing in there. like,
Yep.
like
and
those are
that's my
cheap,
thing.
Like
right?
just
like
in the pavilion.
gazebo. Yeah,
Is that
the
what you're talking
pavilion.
about?
Just
Yeah.
something to get something in there to kind of deter just the kids from.
Yeah, put it on a motion light type of thing.
Doing
So
what
if
they
someone walks
do.
in there,
We could spend $300 and put something.
Yep.
Like agreed. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's already people out there. Like it's like-
right, and I know that. I mean, I know that from what we found in the parks when we go to clean them and stuff. I know that there's people out there doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing if their
Yeah.
parents knew. But, you know,
do you want me to talk to people or do you have talk to people or does
Talk to
Kyle?
everybody.
And that's something
I'm-
we could do in conjunction again. It's not like this other one's gonna eat up the
right?
disc golf's not gonna eat up our whole budget. We got
'Cause there's-
room, right?
Mhm.
For other
There's-
projects.
Yeah.
There's not power really in that park at all, is there?
Runs behind it.
What's behind it?
And what do
Power
you mean?
runs through the back, the alleyway
Oh, yeah.
between the park and your house.
Yeah.
I believe power runs through the back there.
Between my backyard and the park?
Mhm.
Oh.
No digging.
Where those arborvitaes are?
Yes.
But
In that
no,
area- in
it's
that
probably in
area.
my yard. My yard doesn't go as far as it
Far as it-
looks like
right.
on either side.
So
How much does it cost a knife
Tends
and a
to
linear
happen.
foot these
Yeah.
days?
I don't even know what it costs to do that. And that's what I was
don't know, I
wondering.
can ask. I know
It's
two people I can
expensive.
ask.
Okay.
It's kind of paying to you just have to go under. I mean you could jet
Oh,
under the trail.
yeah,
wouldn't be a
it wouldn't
problem.
be. That's not. Yeah, that's the least of our worries. Is the trail. It's.
Trail is
I like I say. I to me that's a big one.
So that was
Um,
lighting in Westridge, you said?
Yeah.
Eric, you go under the right part of that trail, nobody notice anyway.
right. That's what I was thinking. Like, especially over
There
by
is that.
Find the crack and just.
Yeah.
You know, and we're always in need of bike racks. You know, we've talked about benches at the basketball courts. We've talked about, like I say, these things kind of move and evolve as they can, right? You know, we had a lot of conversation a few years back about bench donations, and I think we've only had the one, right? You know, somebody donating a bench for a park.
Oh,
And I think the only one that I know of is the one that was donated for Chucky Wyland up there.
Hmm.
You know, so
what do? We
Do
put
we
that in
try
a
to-
mailer? I mean,
right, and there again, I mean, is that something that we try and put more emphasis on to take some of the benches and stuff off of, you know, off the list?
next flyer, advertise it, and I mean, it's one of those things that you put in the flyer every month, and you
Yeah,
might
and
get
like
one
I
or
said,
two
I
a
mean,
year.
I
Maybe I don't know.
So, like I say, a lot of this stuff I feel just kind of bends and flows as we see that we have the money or we see that there's a need for it. I believe that then we kind of go to put it in. But
Yeah, you kind of have to like separate out like, all right, what are our big projects?
right,
Well, like I
And
see that
What are our,
dog park.
then you just spread out the rest of them.
When you're talking about a big project, I see the dog park, and I know you kind of mentioned that when I first came on, and is there a huge, I mean, I have 3 dogs. I don't need a dog park.
Yeah.
Is there a huge demand for it?
I don't know. We there again, that was something that somebody brought up years ago that hey, maybe we should, you know, think about putting a dog park in. Okay. Where do we put it? And we've gone over and over Meadow to Westridge to, I mean, we've tried to come up with locations. There's just no real good place for a dog park.
I think,
Well, that's why we were thinking about the river spot.
Right.
well,
Right. Yeah. We talked about, you
Oh,
know,
yeah, we did talk
potentially,
about that a little bit.
if, you know,
If that worked out.
yeah.
so
So,
again,
See how
it's
that
not
goes.
something that's pressing, is
No.
my point.
No.
yeah, no,
It's just kind of a thought.
right. It's
Okay.
a,
And that's where we want you to rank order this stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody feels dog park. It's like, it's the low priority, but maybe one day when it makes sense.
Yeah, to
Right.
me, a
Rank 'em
new
low.
park in Coldwater would make more sense because we don't have a park over there. But then
Right,
again,
yeah.
we're not lacking of parks in the city either. Do you know? So, but Coldwater, I was promised one when I moved in when the market crashed and, 18 years ago. And they never put one in. So
So
we did just
So
fine. My
just as
kids
the
are grown
development
now.
didn't go
Did
forward.
Right.
just fine with no park.
for Park and Coldwater, to touch on that real quick.
Yeah.
This is the 9th, well, will be the 9th edition. 8th is right over here.
Mm,
You can see kind of the pre-graded
There's the
that'll go
street.
there.
yeah.
I think right here is where the park should go.
kind of an entrance to that neighborhood from that side.
See, and initially, I think they talked that it was going to be over by the man-made lake that they talked about. And then they kind of drained that and I don't know what happened to that, but it's over by Nace's. They were going to have a
Man-made-
man-made lake.
I was
and
gonna say, all those are
park there.
man-made lakes. We dug all those.
I know. But that's
Gravel
what,
pits.
so when we moved in, we were the only
Pond.
house.
Oh, like the
Right there.
gravel?
Yeah,
the
there was,
swimming
it was
not
more
swimming
water back there.
pond?
We
Yeah.
swam in all those ponds.
They said it was going to be like a swimming one with, no,
Okay.
it could have been just the developer trying to get us to buy the.
Oh, yeah.
Or that could have been. too.
Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly what it
Probably
was.
that.
But he
Right.
said there was going to be a park over there, is what he said. But I see what you're saying. I mean,
Park there
it's
is,
all grown up now, so it would make more sense to have it there.
this is a good distance between parks. Vertically, it's in that heart. And then well, this land, that's developable. This is developable. You get out into here, it's developable still before you hit floodplain and some wetlands, but there's still plenty of land this way that could still be cold water.
Ugh.
It could be.
So
I've
you're
seen
probably
some-
looking at a park, well, Jude's
There
Park.
would be nice.
Jude's Park
That's
here
what
is
Jude's, yeah.
good proximity between these two as
Yeah.
that is to.
Right.
I've seen some really creative uses of low-lying areas, whether it be floodplain or sometimes you have like stormwater ponds that are just dry, and you just you have them set up as like fields, like you can play,
Mhm.
football or catch out there or whatever. And then when it floods, and then when it drains, you can use it again.
Yep.
But again, in future park, that's $200,000.
Yeah.
Plus.
But so
So
those end up being, so how does educate me with these developments going in, like they pay park dedication fees like when they develop or when they plat, or how
So-
does that work?
Part of the plating process, when they start to the pre-plat process, there are park dedication fees. So they have the option of building the park or paying a dollar amount
Right.
instead of putting in a park.
Sure. So if they're like, all right, we have this, that's currently platted as an outlot, I'm assuming
Mhm.
right now. So when they come and they drop all where the homes are going to go and the street and all that, they come back to the city and they want to plat it. And if they come with no park drawn up, they pay park dedication fees. Is what
Or
you're
we
saying.
tell them you're doing a park.
Or we're not approving your plat.
Yes.
Yeah.
We ultimately have the control.
So if they paid park dedication fees, does that big chunk of money just show up in the park fund? Like,
It's-
how does that work?
I don't know, because I don't know when the last time a park dedication fee was paid.
Yeah. They just
Yeah,
put it
I
in.
don't know
That's a
if
great
we've
question.
ever gotten those fees.
I don't.
I don't
just
know.
put it in the
I
park,
just don't know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or
or the
have
city
it-
ate them.
I think it might have just went to general. I don't know.
Well, that's junk. If it
Yeah,
happens,
but I mean-
happen.
I think it was also a time when CIP wasn't really
Right.
We weren't funding it like we
Yeah.
are now.
Yeah.
Now I'm hoping, I'm not speaking
Yep,
too
yes.
early before city council here, but I'll phrase it. My recommendation for 2026 is that we go up to 100,000 a year for park in CIP, because we
Right, we
have
can
things
use
on
it.
there,
Right,
get some good stuff done.
absolutely.
It was 50 for
Yeah.
a while, 75. This year was bumped up because they're balancing the budget on that. But I think going up to 100 would be good, just from my perspective, seeing all the funds and how the tax rates
Yeah.
are moving and all of that. That
Mhm.
30,000 foot view, 100,000 makes sense, especially with what we're looking at for doing
Right.
here. And if the
So-
day comes, 5-10 years down the road where the parks are doing great, we really don't have that many projects, things are going great, well, you tone down the CIP then, the amount you give to parks. The idea is you have this planning document that helps guide you on that whole thing, so you're not overfunded or underfunded, you're doing what you need to do when the appropriate times to do it.
I see a playground equipment replacement on here. Is there equipment out there that's really needing that? How high?
Is
priority
Meadow
that?
the next one that,
Playground equipment itself generally lasts 15 to 20 years
right,
So
and I
there's
think
no-
Meadow is on the
before
edge
you
of
rip
that.
it out and replace it.
So that's what I'm asking. Is there a park that is?
Like I said, I think Meadow is on the verge of that.
I have those.
Does it say it on here?
West Ridge Playground Equipment Replacement, that's gonna be in
Oh,
2034.
here you are. Let's-
Yeah, sorry, on the far right side, I've got other notes,
Those are
cost,
the years
expected
that they're
life, year to
coming.
replace.
2037. Okay, so that one was just replaced.
Yeah, because I pulled the installation dates on all
Okay.
the existing equipment.
So the reason
Well,
just to take us
Meadow
back one,
Park doesn't have it. Oh, yep, there it is. 23. Okay.
take us back
I
just
had
for
to
one
walk it
second.
over.
The reason I asked that line on the park dedication and all that, we have a line item here for the future park to be determined, 200 grand. Like, I guess I don't think we need to plan for that if we're assuming that it's either getting put in with the future development or
Oh, I see.
we get
Yeah.
money from a development coming in where then we would build another park.
So does the developer then get to pick what they put in? No, okay,
We'll tell them what to put
I
in.
don't know how that works.
Now, it's not gonna be the Taj Mahal of parks, because if you make it too expensive, they go, well,
Right.
the development can't bear
Here's
that
the money.
cost.
We're not paying that.
Right.
And then that's where you
I
could
can't make margins.
that's where
I'm
the
not
city
developing.
could then come in and say, all right, well, you put this in and then we're going to add this or whatever if we wanted to, I suppose. But
I make it a reasonable park. Standard playground equipment.
Yeah, isn't-
Wood chips, I'm not gonna do poured in place.
Yeah.
Rubber, because that's insanely
oh, that
expensive.
is insanely it's expensive.
Just do standard park in there.
Yeah.
Have them build it. And then they turn that over to the city. will carve out that parcel, they'll put it all in, they'll make sure it's up to snuff, and then they gift it to the city. As part of and that's written into the development agreements and all the legal documents.
I guess what I'm looking at too is just, and I know it keeps kind of going back to the disc golf thing, but I want to kind of show them, yeah, hey, we looked over this and there's nothing that should be over it. That should be ahead of it. That's more pressing, right? Or that's more worth the
And
cost,
we're
you
not
know?
at a position where that's the only thing that we can do.
That's what I was asking him earlier. I mean, we still have budget.
Right.
If it was
Under
if it was
budget.
$200,000, that'd be a different.
It'd be
story.
another, I mean, we're looking, what are we looking, 10, 15,000, somewhere in there
20,000, I thought. wasn't it?
For
for the disc golf.
That was only.
20 was the line, but was that before or after the donations?
so total
Sorry, I'm kicking it.
26-ish
Okay,
on that.
That's-
We have some trash cans in there, but
great.
on that
figuring
whole sponsorship, I'm figuring we have 19, but I'm figuring 17. I have a couple thoughts in my head about ones we want to gift.
Okay,
Special organizations and people who have contributed greatly to the project that
Mhm.
are deserving of
That would be
recognition
awesome.
through a whole sponsorship. I have a couple thoughts in my head about that. So you sell 17, I just went with the $1,000 model. Well, that's 17 grand right there, and you're talking about
so we're talking about 10
Right.
grand
Yeah.
possibly.
Right. That's what,
So-
yeah, looking at this list.
I mean,
doesn't make sense not
And,
to do
and
it.
what do we have in our bank right now?
Yeah, I was gonna pull up mine, but I did bring my laptop.
That would be the only other thing maybe that to have as a point of,
I'll get that
note for
spreadsheet.
yeah, exactly. Like you prepared basically
Yeah,
our,
we had the
our
budget
layout of
presented.
our.
We had the budget presented at city council.
Yeah.
And
I just gotta remember where I put this.
we were
spreadsheet.
under. Here, it's in the last email, is it?
I don't have email on this particular
Oh,
laptop.
hold on.
Air
Security,
gapped.
security,
You're
security.
probably gonna find it by the time I get this out, aren't you?
Yeah, I will. Oh, it's gonna be under CIP. That's where I had it. Got it.
Ah,
There it is.
See, I'm just putting pressure on you.
Thank you. So this is my park fund tracking. Since when I started, we had pavilion, we had splash pad, we had all this going on, and I need to reconcile a lot of the accounts because we're getting the grant money and what have you.
Yeah.
So this is our current fund balance as of 2/28. Some of these other items you will see notes accounted for. That's why you see zeros in there because they're already included in the fund balance.
Okay,
We have the second splash pad payment of 247, 248. The old schoolhouse trail reconstruction at 95, 96,000. Some just general miscellaneous expenses, contingencies because projects are going to have them.
Mhm.
Helping balance out. So running deficit. Once that's all done, DNR outdoor recreation grant for 314,000 shores that up a bit more. Park CIP of 95,143 shores it up a bit more. We have disc golf course. I got at 26 without donations. However, if we get all the donations, that well, depending what we get annual versus the one time. So I just throw full cost in there. Outdoor pickleball court conversions, it will not be that much because we're just striping lines.
Right, we're just, and yeah,
Should be low thousands to get that done. But I like to budget conservatively. So,
better be over than under.
Yep,
yep.
and we're still under.
Mhm.
That's what I was saying.
We had a
got
Lions
room.
Club donation. That was for the picnic tables. And then we had the baseball club donation. That is for the trees that will go in. That's kind of part of this 20 grand miscellaneous.
Your gloves.
Right.
So you can see there's still a deficit here. And when this whole thing kicked off a couple of years ago, I presented to council, there will be this deficit.
Mhm.
And the plan was from our 435 general capital projects fund, that's doing well. So we would transfer funds out of the 435 into the park fund to balance out the difference. And that figure, I always had pegged from the get-go around 125 to 130.
Nice job.
See, so we're under,
So we're landing around there.
but should be under considering
Yeah.
the smaller pickleball.
We
and-
get
yeah.
this turns to 10, this turns to 3.
Yeah.
We're not
no,
using all the 20,000 potentially. It looks better.
So is there consternation on the council for that transfer?
No.
Is that where the question on the?
I think Mayor was just like, oh, whoa, we're jumping into another project. I think he just was, in my opinion, just like, okay, are we sure we don't have anything else that's super pressing?
Sure.
Right? I mean, it just seemed like, I mean, and for me coming in, it was like, oh, boom, splash pad, boom, pickleball.
Yeah.
So if anybody were to say we're jumping in, it would have been me. But I mean, I think it's really good to see this and show this to the city council. Will say no. I mean,
Yeah.
other things can still be done. There's still room for other things, and we're not even going to use up the whole budget to do this. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. Honestly,
And I
we're
think-
adding a huge thing to the city at minimal cost.
I take some of the blame because I'm a gas, go 100 miles an hour on projects. And when it came to the disc golf, I just repeated the process that I had
Mhm.
success with in
Yeah.
Canby.
I remember when it came, you were like, yep, done that before. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, that's what, I mean, that's,
That's
Paying
it.
fun
That's what you
people,
want.
I knew how to do
Why
this
sit on-
project.
Why sit on a
That's
project?
what the confidence is, well, you've done it before and you've had good success. Why? And it's a smaller town than here. So, I mean, why want to, and we're close to the city. So, I mean,
Well, and I've never even played it, and I was like, that sounds good.
Right.
You know, I mean, it sounds
Right.
like
And like I said-
visually, it even adds something to the city, in
Yeah.
my opinion. I think disc golf courses are pretty.
You talk about Canby, the closest town of any reasonable size. Canby was 1,800. Marshall was the closest one
I
at
was gonna say, it's gonna be like
13,000.
Marshall.
That was 25 miles away,
so.
and it was considered close.
Right.
I think people like to see things being done.
Yeah.
So,
And to have these added in, and you know, because people are a little indifferent about Dollar General, but to have some things that are pretty and functional and open. I mean, you got Splash Pad that's going to be open up to all the little kids. I mean, we really got a lot of stuff going for us in our little town,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
Yeah. I think we're moving pretty good, and this will just, yeah. Okay.
so
Homework,
goal is to.
everybody.
Your
bring back some
homework
ranking
is
next-
take this
next month.
home.
Rank it.
You have your column with your name up here. Fill in the numbers 1 to 10, or 1 to 5. 1 being the lowest, high being the 5.
Did you send out a spreadsheet version of this?
The last time. Last
So-
time.
So
I
when you
figure
say
paper might
lowest
be a
and,
little bit
Yeah.
easier.
so number one would be like our most important to us.
No.
You want it the other way around.
Says at the top.
Says-
5 is highest.
Says at the
I think
top.
we did
right
that
there,
last
park
time.
bench.
Right, right, and
I
it,
think you
it
ranked
just,
them
every
Five
time
is
it's like,
highest priority.
So beyond, so it would,
Points.
the light in the
I gotcha.
gazebo was one of the top ones, right? The light,
Yes.
not the trail lighting. the
Seven
light
no,
in
the light,
gazebo.
the gazebo lighting.
So yeah, if
So
you
that'll get 10.
if you think a park bench in Westridge Park is the greatest thing since sliced bread, give it a
That gets
5.
Okay.
If you think it's an awful idea and it has way too many park benches already, give it a 1.
And did you notice that, Mike? There's your own column right here.
I saw
There it is,
that.
yeah.
I saw my name and I went, woohoo.
I didn't even see my name up there. When you said name, I'm like, what?
You're not ranking
I have
yourself.
to do something?
All right. Any other discussion on CIP?
I don't believe I have any more for you.
Okay. Any other commissioner reports? Anybody get anything that you need to bring to the table? Other than, welcome again to our new member. We're excited to have you here.
Thank you.
And,
I think you got a better welcome than I do. What's going on around here?
Councilmember.
Maybe by default.
I wasn't chosen.
With that, I'll look
That's
to for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Awesome.
Perfect.